In this video, I'm going to show you how to change some brake pads and rotors on a 2004 GMC Sierra. Hey, Donnie Smith here with Car Addict Garage, and today we're showing you how to change some brake pads and rotors. And the first thing you want to do is chalk it. You don't want this to roll around on you. You want to make sure it's secure. Go around and put some blocks on there. And now we are loosening these up. Since we're not using an air impact and a lift, you have to break these first so the tire won't spin. And they're pretty tight, so we're having to use a cheater bar to break them. And once we get them broke, that's good enough. Then we can go ahead and lift this up. Now, I have sped this up a little bit since we're not using a lift and air tools, air impact, things like that. I don't want to bore you with just watching us jack and use the tire tool and things like that. But I tell you what, Chuck Norris and his nunchucks don't have nothing on me with my tire tool. So I'm taking the wheel off. I'm going to loosen all. I'm taking it all the way off now. And once I get this off, I want to do another safety deal, and I want to put a jack stand under there. You never want to get under or even partially under a vehicle with just a floor jack or any type of jack. I know if you're having to fix a flat out on the road, you may have to. Just be very careful, but there's been a lot of people hurt with falling jacks. So always get some extra, a jack stand or something like that. Some people will even put the tire under there to kind of help catch the vehicle if it was to fall. But always take safety, take it seriously. And last thing we want to do is get hurt or anything like that. That certainly wouldn't save you any money doing it yourself. Now I am taking the caliper bolts out. There's two of them. They use a T55, I believe. Yeah, T55. That's a Torx. And they are really tight too. He's having troubles getting that out, so we had to get an extension to break those loose as well. We did spray some WD-40 on there. I don't know if I showed that, but yeah, it was really, really tight. And we got those out. And again, that's a T55 on those two. And next, we'll take the caliper off. And it's very important with this caliper, don't just let it dangle and hang from the hose. You could damage it or whatever. So I'm trying to get that off. Is a little stuck. I tried to push that piston back a little bit. There's two of them. I got one of them to release, but the other one didn't. But a little persuasion and wiggling, I got it out. So yeah, don't leave that caliper just dangling on the hose. You want to set it up. If you can't find nowhere, you may even get a coat hanger or something to tie it up so it's not putting all that pressure on the hose. So taking the brake pads off, you can see they're pretty worn down to metal on that one. And it was definitely needing replaced. And it's had the rotor warps. We're going to be replacing the rotor as well. And just about any time you replace brake pads, you need to either have them turned or, they're going to have some wear on them. But we decided just to go ahead and replace these. Now we are taking the caliper bracket off, and that uses an 18 millimeter. And again, they was really tight, which I expected them to be because they use Loctite on those. But they was really tight. But we're getting that off. Going to speed that up a little bit too, and we'll get those two off, and then we can take the rotor off. I guess you could call this front drive, method. Used to say shade tree. Don't hear that term much anymore. But anyway, doing it without all the power tools, and I think it's important. This is my boy's truck, and he's helping, just kind of for them to learn how to do it without all the tools, because you're not always going to have all those. So anyway, I got that bracket off, and now this is just a little keeper that goes on the stud, and basically all that is to keep the rotor on until you get the tire and wheel on. So really don't need that, tear it up, getting it off or whatever. I'm not too worried about that. I probably won't put it back on when I go to put it back together. Now just hammer on this. This will kind of loosen all the rust and stuff off. And you may also want to spray some WD-40 on those lug nuts. It's all that corrosion and rust kind of gets it stuck, and they get kind of hard to come off. But a little banging, a little wiggling, you'll get it off. Now on this bracket, there's brackets in there for the brake pad. I'm going to take those off, and I want to clean underneath those real good. And I just got some WD-40 and a scuff pad, and I'm just cleaning all that rust off. So it's nice and clean when it all goes back together. And I'll do both sides. But I'll clean it with some WD-40, and then I'll spray some brake cleaner to clean it all off real good and wipe it down. And then I'll put some grease. Now this was they're supposed to come with brake grease. These brakes did not come with the brake grease or the clamps or the clips that hold those brakes in. Some do and some don't, but I'm putting some grease on there just to help lubricate that, keep it from rusting, and then I'll put this bracket back on for the brake pad. So hopefully this works as well. I know seems like the brake lubrication is blue, I think, but hopefully this will work as well. So I'm cleaning the other side up and put that bracket back on for the brake pad, and now I'm greasing the outsides of them. You know, I greased underneath them, but I'm also greasing on the outside of those brackets where the brake pads will meet them, so that way doesn't cause no rust or anything there. So anyway, I got that greased, and now I'm pretty much done with this bracket for right now. I can put it aside, and now I'm cleaning the hub assembly. That's another area that gets a lot of rust and stuff on it, so I'm using a red scuff pad, WD-40, and just going around and cleaning that too good, get any loose rust that I can off. And once I get that cleaned up, I'll clean it with some brake cleaner and then wipe it down, and then I can get the rotor and get started with that. So yeah, getting it cleaned up real good, and this just helps it from rusting later. Okay, now I'll get the brake pads and kind of look at them. They're not too hard to figure out which way they go. There's, you know, about one way they can go really. So I'll look at it. If you are confused about that, be sure to look at it before you take them off, and then just put it back the way they were. But I'm just setting them back in there. I'm putting that outside one in first, and then I'll put the inside brake pad on. And now I've got the rotor, and I'm just going to clean it with some brake cleaner, make sure all the oils are off it, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on, and I'll clean the front side later after I get it put together. Now I'm using some Loctite, and it recommends doing this for the caliper bracket, just the blue Loctite. Put those in, get the bracket, and I'll go ahead and put the bolt in the back, kind of get it started. And then I'll set that on there and work on the top first and kind of get that all lined up. You got to wiggle it around and kind of get it lined up where that will start. And once you get that one started, you can push it down and then align the bottom one and put it in as well. And you need to put Loctite on both the top and the bottom bolt. Get them started real good, and then you can snug them up, and we'll torque it, you know, here later. So, okay, got that. Just kind of cleaning it up a little bit, that caliper bracket and the brakes, and now I'm going to tighten it up. And again, I'm just going to get it pretty tight, you know, just with the ratchet, and I'm going to come back and torque it here after I get this caliper on. Now this one piston didn't go in all the way, just the one did, but this one was stuck in, so I had to get it pushed in. And you want to be careful doing this. You don't want to break it or anything, or you kind of want to go easy and go a little bit at a time. So I'll have to squeeze it just a little bit, tighten my clamp up a little bit and squeeze it a little bit more. Takes a few times. You don't want to push it too hard too fast. You know, you might break that piston or something. So take your time doing that, and you shouldn't have no problems. I mean, I've never had no problems with that. I don't know. I've heard people say they have, but I never have had a problem with that. So, all right. So I'm just getting that compressed, and soon we'll be ready to put this caliper on. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to the camera there. It's hot, so maybe I don't know, it's fogged up for some reason. But I also got a little bit of grease and put it on the pistons just to keep them from corroding, rusting, things like that. And then you can slide this on. Now, if you didn't have the pistons compressed all the way, you'd have a very hard time sliding this over. So that's why you want to make sure and push those back. But you basically just push it on there, get it aligned real good, and then you can put the two bolts in. Now I put some grease on this one. Doesn't recommend Loctite, but it does need some grease on there. So I got that on, got it lined up, and you just have to wiggle that around a little bit till you get it, and then kind of hand tight it in. And then I'm going to do the same with the bottom one, and I'm going to grease it and then get it started. And then I can go with the ratchet and kind of tighten it up, and then I can torque everything. So I'm getting that done. Now, this is a T55. The other side, it stripped out, and we had a hard time with it. And we went to the parts store and bought some more, and it was had a bolt on it, you know, a bolt head instead of a Torx head. And I like that much better. I hate messing with these Torx. They strip out a lot. You have problems with them. So I don't know, every time you go to the parts store and buy that, they will give you. I mean, it's the exact same bolt, but it has a bolt head on it, which I liked a lot more. Okay, now I'm cleaning up the rotor on the outside, making sure it's good and clean. All the oils and stuff are off of it, and then about got this job done. Just need to torque these down, and these torque to 80. The bracket does, and then the caliper torques to 60. Now you may check that with your truck to make sure, but that's what I found online. So, but yeah, I would double check that just to make sure. And then get this tire put on, and be sure and do kind of a cross motion to get the tire on even. And then you can take the jack stand out, take the jack out, and now I'm torquing everything. And again, go kind of in a cross motion first, star motion, whatever you want to call it, where you're going. And then you can kind of go around them all just to make sure they're all good and tight. And I torque these down to 90. But again, on all the torque specs, make sure just check that yourself and see what you find or what the recommendations are for your truck. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.